Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shrirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathamvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padha Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamvitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So welcome back to the series on Bhakti Tattva Vivek, deliberations on pure devotional service. We are having this class every Sunday and Monday evenings now. So yesterday's class, we began discussing from Bhakti Tattva Vivek the Tatastha Lakshan, of Bhakti, or the Gauna Lakshan. So yesterday we somewhat finished one of the Tatastha Lakshan. I don't know why something is wrong. One of the videos of the participants is coming on my screen for some reason. Dr. Archana Mataji's video it's not a video, but the image is coming. I don't know for what reason. Yeah, it's not, the video is not being displayed. Yeah, now it's fine. Yeah. So yesterday we went through the Tatastha Lakshan. And one of the Tatastha Lakshan is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. The second is Jnana Karmadhyanavritam. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives a reference that in the Garuda Puran, which is quoted in Bhakti Sandarbha, speaks about this Tatastha Lakshan. What is desire? Desire is Abhilashita. And not desiring things, but not desiring other things does not mean that one should give up desiring advancement in bhakti. Like to desire, attain Bhava Bhakti by Sadhana Bhakti is a good desire. It's an excellent desire. That was the definition actually of Sadhana Bhakti, Kriti Sadhyat Bhavit Sadhyat. And then other desires for material pleasure and desire for liberation, Anya Abhilashata, this we should give up. And he quotes, Mukti Mukti Spruhayavat Pishachi Ridivartate Tavad Bhakti Sukasyatra Katam Abhyudayo Bhavet. So this bhakti, it is referred to which kind of bhakti? Sarup Siddha Bhakti or Ananya Bhakti, not Mishra Bhakti. So the real nectar of Ananya Bhakti cannot be relished as long as the desire for bhukti and mukti are there in the heart. And then he goes on to, we analyze that this is Sarup Siddha Bhakti. What is bhukti? Material enjoyment in this world, in the next world, siddhis. And then he says that a devotee who has taste for worshipping, even if these desires are very strong, but they are destroyed by sadhana without resorting to vairagya. And then he gives the principle of yukta vairagya and falgu vairagya. And the desire to not enjoy the sense objects is not possible for the embodied spirit. But the spirit in which we accept these sense objects, the principle he gives, like Rupa, Gandha, Sparsha, Shabda, everything we see in relationship with Krishna. See gardens as for sporting playground for Krishna. And we gave this whole scenario here, how to see all the ahar, spiritualize all the ahars. And now, mukti. Mukti desires are what? There is gradation here. That ekatva, merging, is to be rejected, whether it is Brahma Sayuj or Iswar Sayuj. But even these four, they are not so unfavorable. Nati viruddhate. They are not so unfavorable. The Shashti, Samipya, Salokya, and Sarupya. But there are these two categories, Sukha Aishwaryottara, Prema, Sevottara. So a devotee should give both Sukha Aishwarya as well as Premottara. Kintu Prema Eka Madhurya Jusha Ekantino Haro Naivangi Kurvate Jato Muktim Pancham Vidham Api. But a devotee never expects or is attached to even these five kinds of liberations. What to speak of Sukha Aishwarya, even Prema. So Hanuman is the example who has Prema for the Lord in Dasiras. So he doesn't want to be in the abode of the Lord. Salokya. He's serving here in this planet. So he's only attracted by Prema for the Lord, Dasiras. So even that five kinds of liberation he should give up. That's what. And this is Anya Bilashita Shunyam. So this is what we discussed yesterday. Now today I felt it pertinent that this whole discussion is coming from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So let us visit Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu and get a little more deeper insight into Anya Bilashya as a quality of a Vaidhi sadhaka. So now I am going to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Eastern Division, second wave, qualification for Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Now before that, let me first go to the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Eastern Division, first wave, where Samanya Bhakti, in that this Uttama Bhakti definition is discussed. Anya Bilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadhyanavritam, Anukulena Krishnanu, Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. So we have seen this verse, we have discussed this verse quite exhaustively. So after defining this verse, now Rupa Goswami, while discussing Sadhana Bhakti, definition of Sadhana Bhakti, he says, Kriti Sadhya Bhaved Sadhya bhavasa sadhana vidha nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam ridhi sadhyata. Action of the senses, kriti sadhya, which produces the stage of bhava, sadhya bhava bhavet, is called sadhana bhakti, sa sadhana vidha. This attained state of bhava bhakti, sadhyata, is an eternal sthahi bhav which is not created. Nitya siddhasya bhavasya, but simply manifest within the soul by the spiritual energy of the Lord. Ridhi prakatyam. So we will not go into the second part of this verse discussion, but most important is kriti sadhyat bhavet sadhya. Practicing sadhana bhakti by engaging the senses with any desire? Yes. To the desire to attain bhava. Sadhya bhava. That is sadhana bhakti. So in this definition, how this definition fits in the definition of Uttama Bhakti, can anyone say? I hope you are clear with the question. How this definition of sadhana bhakti, kriti sadhyat bhavet sadhya, which I am showing here on the screen, because that definition of Uttama Bhakti is the Paribhasha Sutra. All future definitions which Rupa Goswami is going to define in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, be it sadhana bhakti, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, Raganuga sadhana bhakti, Bhava bhakti, Prema bhakti, all definitions should be seen in the light of the Paribhasha Sutra, which is Anya Bilashita Shunyam. So how does Kriti Sadhyat Bhave Sadhya, Bhava Sa Sadhya Bhave, what does it indicate in the Uttama Bhakti definition? Can anyone say something about it? Anyone would like to try? You can try. There's no harm in trying. There's no harm in trying. Yes, Virendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Here, in sadhana bhakti, we have desire for bhava. So, developing desire for bhava is a favorable in Krishna's service. So, that way it is pretty nice.
Yeah, I got your point. So, if you remember Bhaktivinoda Thakur's statement that other desires for bhukti and mukti is anya bilashita, but the desire to practice sadhana by which attaining bhava is an excellent desire. So that is why that meets the criteria of anna bilashita shunyam, if you see. So it fits within the definition of Uttama Bhakti, the sadhana bhakti definition. It fits in the definition of Uttama Bhakti. Now later on, after defining sadhana bhakti, then Rupa Goswami goes on to define Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. This is the definition. Tatra Vaidhi yatra ragana vaptvat pravritterupajayate shashaneva shastrasya sa Vaidhi bhakti ruchyate. When the actions of bhakti arise, yatra pravrittir upajayate, not from the attainment of raga. Raga anatvatvat, but by the teachings of scriptures. Shastrasya shasaneva, it is called Vaidhi Bhakti. Sa Vaidhi Bhaktir Uchate. So this is called as Vaidhi Bhakti. So this definition of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti also fits in the Paribhasha Sutra definition, that is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. Now, after defining Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, Rupa Goswami goes further into qualifications for Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. That is faith in scriptures. And he says that there are three adhikaris. There is the Kanishta, the Uttama, and the Madhyam. And after defining this, then he comes to this topic, that is rejection of desire for bhakti and mukti. So I'm just giving the flow in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, what is happening. I just gave the flow. So now I'm discussing this rejection of desire for bhakti and mukti, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur has discussed in Bhakti Tattva Viveka. Now we are going to discuss that same thing based from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu perspective of Rupa Goswami, along with commentaries of Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, and Prabhupada's comments in his summary study, Nectar of Devotion. Because we want to really understand that what is the adhikar for practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. I hope we are clear up till now. Any questions, any clarifications? This is just the background I've given to discuss Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu about Anya Abhilasha. I just gave a little background. I hope you are clear about it. And do you have any questions up till now what we have discussed? Any questions, any clarifications? Okay, so then, yes, now you got the background now. Let us go. This is the same verse. When Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, other desires means the desires for bhakti and mukti, and Rupa Goswami says this, so he is quoting this verse. Bhukti mukti spruha yavat pishachi riti vartate tavat bhakti sukasyatra katam abhidyo bhave. How can happiness of bhakti? Now here bhakti refers to Uttama Bhakti or Sarup Siddha Bhakti. Arise in the heart, Riddhi Abhidyo Bhavet, when the witch of desire for enjoyment and liberation remains there. Atra Vartate. Now, let us go into the commentary of Jiva Goswami. Rupa Goswami now states the previously mentioned case of pure bhakti by describing the opposite condition. Na nirvinno na atisakto. So this is from the discussion going on in the Bhagavatam, who is qualified for what? If he is atisakta, too attached, he is qualified for karma. And nirvinna means too detached, he is qualified for jnana. But one who is in between, neither too detached nor too attached, the middle path is for bhakti. So, cause for pure bhakti is you should be either too detached. If you're detached, then you can take up the Gyan marg. If you're attached, then you have to take the Karma marg. Bhukti is the diminush because it covers the desire for bhakti with other desires. So if you have the desire for bhakti, then it covers what? The desire for pure bhakti. The desire for bhakti is there, pure bhakti for us. But right now, in our conditioning, in our subtle conditioning, there are so many desires for bhakti. And that is why it is like a pisachi, which is covering. And he has compared it with a heavy term, pishachi. Mukti is a diminush because its reference point is oneself. I want to get liberated. I want to get out of this material world. I, instead of, let others go back to Godhead. Let me remain here if the Lord desires, Even though the devotees become liberated from samsar, liberation is not at all their goal. The meaning of the verse is that desires for enjoyment and liberation are not proper for the sadhaka and are not at all present in the perfected E. Now, what do you understand by this statement of Jiva Goswami? Any thoughts, any reflections? Can raise your hands. Any thoughts or any reflections on this? The meaning of the verse is that desires for enjoyment and liberation are not proper for sadhaka and are not at all present in a perfected devotee. Anyone would like to say something? You can try. Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji. Yeah, unmuted him.
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada. So I think when we have desire for bhakti and mukti, in both the cases, we take ourselves in center and not Krishna. Whereas for pure devotion, Krishna has to be in center in all our endeavors.
Yes, it also means that one of the adhikar for a Vaidhi sadhaka is he should be free from the desires for bhakti and mukti. Sadhaka means here it's referring to Vaidhi sadhaka now. And it is not at all present in a perfected, in a siddha. Siddha means, he is a pure devotee. So now let us go. This is understood from examples of both given elsewhere. Both type of examples. For sadhakas and for siddhas, there are examples given. Now please, carefully go through the statement of Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami. Therefore, desires for enjoyment, liberation are not at all present in a perfected devotee. This is 8th category. B category is devotees who are absorbed in the bliss of service to the lotus feet of Krishna should never desire liberation. Now, in a perfected devotee, is the desire for bhakti and mukti there? Yes or no? You have to answer me. And why you should say. I hope you got the question. In a perfected devotee, Siddha, who has attained Sadhya Bhakti, is there the desire for mukti or bhakti there or no? Yes or no? And you have to say why. Who will answer? I would like to see others also. Govinda Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I think I'm not sure, but perfected means he should not have desire because he is in a perfected stage. So this is a sadhana stage only. It is not there. Means it should not be there. Means perfect stage should definitely not be there.
So in the perfected devotee who has attained sadhya, the desires for.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I am able to hear you. The desire for bhakti and mukti is not there.
Yeah, yes. Should be that I am assuming. I am not sure. Okay. It should be not be there because he is already perfected. One the sadhana bhakti only when we are learning all these things.
No. Forget. Don't discuss anything about sadhana.
Like Pishachi should not be there. He is already attained perfection stage. He should not be there.
Hold on. Forget about sadhana. Now only we are discussing about a siddha. We are discussing only about a siddha. It should. Yeah. Is it there or no? Yes or no?
No.
No. Okay, that's okay. Now, why do you say it is no?
Because he is reached the siddha stage.
Okay, he has reached the siddha stage. What are the characteristics of one who has attained siddha stage? What are the characteristics of pure devotion? There are characteristics of pure devotion. Huh? So one who has attained siddha stage, what is the characteristic then?
There are 6 characteristics.
Yeah, but at least only tell me some characteristics of the sadhya.
Moksha Lagudakrita.
This is what I wanted. He considers mukti also completely. So that's why it is not present. So when moksha only he is, considering completely insignificant, then what is bhukti, sorry.
Yeah.
So it is not there.
Yes. Yes.
Now, The second question I have. The sadhakas, who are practicing bhakti and absorbed in the bliss of the service, do they have desires for mukti or bhukti? Do they have? Yes or no? And you have to give the reasoning also. Who will try this? We will ask Jagdishwar Prabhuji. I will choose now. I want devotees to participate. Jagdishwar Prabhuji, are there? I have unmuted you.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Yeah. So, sadhana, Vaidhi sadhana stage, no?
Yeah, Vaidhi Sadhaka, who is qualified to practice Uttama Bhakti. He's a Vaidhi Sadhaka, but
Because he is not, I mean, bhukti and mukti both desire, he is not, that you are asking, no?
no.
So because
No, understand my question. Now here again I'm going back. Now devotees who are absorbed in the service and the bliss of service to the lotus feet of Krishna, second category, do they have desires for bhukti and mukti? Is those desires there? Yes or no? And why you have to tell?
they, because it is also they don't have bhukti and mukti.
No. You have to understand the question very clearly. Once again, I'll repeat. Please hear me. Devotees who are absorbed in the bliss of service to the lotus feet of Krishna, these are qualified Vaidhi sadhakas who are absorbed in the bliss of the service of the. Do they have desires for bhakti and mukti? Yes or no? And why you should say?
Because they also know that even though they are not at
No. You'll have to tell me first yes or no, and then you have to give the reason.
No.
They don't have. Okay. Then okay, let's ask someone else. Dr. Archana Mataji. Do they have desires? Yes or no?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam.
Yes.
I think they do not have any desire for bhakti or mukti because they have already submerged in the bliss of Krishna Seva. So I don't think so they are having any other desire.
Okay. Fine. Yes, Reena Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Same. They not the desire of bhakti and mukti, as they have भगवान के चरण कमल की जिन्होंने शरण लिए, तो Lord will bless them.
Okay. Fine. Govinda Prabhuji, you have to say something.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. They may have desire for mukti, but they don't have desire for bhukti, because sense enjoyment. Because
why do you say that?
Because see, they have taken shelter of the this thing and engage in service of the Lord, and they are feeling blissful. That means they have given up material sense enjoyment, and they have taken shelter, so they are engaged in this thing. So they are happy in this, but they are still may have some desire for liberation, mukti.
Okay, bhukti also. Okay, I got now all the inputs. Now I want to make a point. Please hear and understand it carefully. Now here, devotees who are absorbed in the bliss of the service of the lotus feet of Krishna should never desire liberation. Only liberation is mentioned, but also enjoyment also you can take. Now, devotees who are qualified to practice Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, they are still not, attained sadhya. They have not attained sadhya. So there is impurities. There is impurities in the subtle body, but they are practicing their bhajan. So these impurities for bhog and mukti are there, and they come up. But because they are absorbed in the bliss of the service of the lotus of feet, they say no to it. Are you understanding this point? Is it clear? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Everyone, if you have any doubts about this statement, what I made, is it yes? Is it clear? You can raise your hands. Yes, if it is clear to you. It is very important for us to understand this. Okay, 3 I have raised, 4. Virendra Yadav has not raised his hand. Tukaram has raised his hand. Rachana. Jagdishwar Prabhu. Chidanand Janardhan Prabhu. It's Jagdishwar Prabhu itself. Sri Rupa. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, everyone has raised. Now here my... Oh. Krishna. Okay, suddenly something happened. Okay, you can lower down. Now, any questions on this, what I just said? If you have digested, if you have not digested, if you have still any thing to say. First, lower your hands, and any questions, then you raise your hands. Okay, there are 2 hands raised. Okay. Jagdishwar Puji, you have a question?
I don't have a question. I clear. Things are clear.
Clear. Okay. Dr. Archana Mataji, you have a question?
Prabhuji, they are consciously saying no to the mukti part, right?
Even bhakti, because see, still they are sadhakas, they have entered into Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, and because they have entered into Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, they have still not attained perfection, so there are impurities in the subtle body, but because of the higher taste, bliss in the service of Krishna, they reject both bhakti and mukti. They keep on coming to them. They keep on coming to them.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
So I hope this is clear. Now, yeah, there is one more question. Virendra Yadav Prabhuji, yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dhanatma.
Yes.
Prabhu, can we relate this statement with Param Drishtva Nivartate?
Yes, you can relate this statement with Param Drishtva Nivartate. Vishaya Vinivartante Nirraharasya Dehina Raso Varjam Rasopyasyam Param Drishtva Nidhi. Because he's attained the bliss in the service of Krishna, he is able to give up these desires for bhakti, and they keep on coming, but for a siddha, there is heart is pure. There is no desire only for him. There is no desire only for bhakti or mukti only, because he is absorbed in prema of the Lord. I hope it is clear.
Yes, Prabhu. But Prabhu, until he is not fully cleared of all his anartha, and still his, maybe minds are wandering here and there on sense objects. Can he be called as a mithyachari in that condition?
No. Mithyachari is a completely different thing. You're pretending. Externally, you're showing that I'm a yogi, but internally in your mind, you're always contemplating on how to enjoy. Externally, you're showing as yourself as a vairagi. Internally, you're always meditating on joy. But a sincere sadhaka, he absorbed in the service of Krishna, but these desires, anarthas are there, and he's struggling with Vishaya Sangra, battle with the senses and sense objects, and he's trying to come over and he's praying. So that is sincerity, but this is pretender, So there are, Arjuna, Krishna is instructing Arjuna that don't take up the path of Jnana Yoga because you're not qualified. Because your senses are, should be engaged and purified and attain the higher state, and then, you can go for Jnana Yoga. There is some disturbance there. Jnana Yoga. That's why he says, don't become a Mityachari. That's in that context he is saying. Now, please hear my question and my statement and carefully think about it and then answer. There are devotees who are doing service to the Lord. They are also getting some happiness in the service. But when the desires for forget about mukti, bhukti also come, they go for it. Or they have, you can say what, they expect the fruits of their service. In this case, this is the third category, which is not mentioned here, but I'm just mentioning. And now, what about them? What about them? Are you clear with the question? And I would like to hear from the audience. What kind of bhakti then they are practicing? There is abhilasha for bhakti as well as mukti. They are doing service also. So what kind of bhakti are they practicing then? Anyone would like to say something? First of all, have you understood the question? That is also very important. Yes, Jagdishwar Prabhuji.
They are also practicing Shuddha Bhakti.
How do you say that they are practicing Shuddha Bhakti?
Apichet saduracharo bhajate mamana.
No. That is in a different context. You cannot get that into. Whether it fits in the definition of Uttama Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti, and Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, we have to see. Yes, Dr. Archana Mataji.
Prabhuji, it's Mishra Bhakti.
Yes,
they
exactly.
They have desire.
Yes, it is Mishra Bhakti they are practicing. They are still not Vaidhi Sadhakas. They are still not qualified to practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. This is the point. If you have understood this, it's really nice. Now, for these two categories, Rupa Goswami starts giving evidence. Tatrapi cha visheshena gatim anvin anichatah bhaktir rit mana prana premna tan kurute jana. By premna, the bhakti process such as hearing, taking possession of the mind and the senses, rit mana pranan, of the persons who tan kurute janan, do not desire the goal of liberation at all. Gatim anvin anichati. So this bhakti process, because of prema, the hearing takes possession of the mind and the senses, and such persons desire liberation. This is the verse Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says. Now, hear what Jiva Goswami says. This verse speaks about the excellence of bhakti, which is devoid for the desire for liberation. Anvim gatim, minute or subtle goals, refers to liberation. Bhakti indicates a process such as hearing. These processes take possession of the devotee's minds and senses, pranan, through the influence of prema. Note, the activities of bhakti are purely spiritual, though expressed through our senses and mind while we are embodied, because the influence of the Lord's spiritual energy this becomes perfect at the stage of prema. Ritmana pranan. So, because bhakti, which is the Sarup Shakti of the Lord, has entered their heart, the senses and the minds have no desire for bhukti and mukti. Especially mukti is being referred here. That means their mind and senses become bhakti itself by the influence of prema. Now, further in these verses, this is a series of verses from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Rupa Goswami quotes further verses how the desires for enjoyment and liberation are not at all present in a perfected devotee. He gives one evidence. He gives one evidence. Please understand this verse carefully, and the next verses are very important. Tay darshaniya vayayerudhara vilasa hasitikshavam suktehe ritatmano ritpranamsha bhakti nichato me gatim anvin prayukte. To the devotees whose minds and senses have been stolen. Rit atmano rit pranan. Their senses are stolen by Krishna, mind is also stolen by Krishna. How? By the attractive limbs of the Lord. Tay darshaniya avayaya. Avaya means the different limbs of the Lord, like the hands, legs, the lotus feet, the beautiful face, which contain pleasing words. Vama sukte, glances, ikshita, smiles, hasa, and pastimes, which fulfill their desires. Udhara vilas. Bhakti offers up liberation. Bhaktir me anvim gatim prayukti. Though they do not desire it. Annichato. Because of their purity of heart, these are the siddhas, perfected. They are so much absorbed in the beauty of Krishna that nothing beautiful is there for them to relish in this material world. So although bhakti offers them liberation, they do not desire. You know that verse of Kapil Muni, Saloke Sami Pisrashti, Sarupyam Ekatam Apyuta, Diyamanam na grananti, Dinamat Sevanam. They are not interested in even these 5 kinds of liberation. So this is easy to understand that the desires for bhukti and mukti are not at all present in a perfected devotee, and this is the evidence he gives. Let us hear Jiva Goswami's commentary. With this verse, the author gives evidence for the previous point. The previous point means that in perfected devotees, there is no desire for bhukti and mukti. Bhakti captivates the mind and senses of those not desiring liberation by prema, which arise from the realization of the beautiful limbs, smile, and words of the Lord. Prayunkte means causes. So they are already in their antakaran, in their heart, they are having darshan of the Lord. They are absorbed in the beauty of the Lord, and they're absorbed in that prema. So hritmana prana. So they are not at all desiring liberation. They have no desire for liberation because they are already free from suffering. They are absorbed in bliss. They're absorbed in bliss. According to another explanation, anvimgati means the subtle or difficult to understand conditions of being an associate of the Lord. They are already an associate of the Lord. So why would they desire liberation? This meaning is obtained by the context for it will be said in the next verse. Shriyam Bhagavatim Vas Puranti Bhadram Parasya Mete Ashnuvate tu Loke. They do not desire to be elevated to the kingdom of God. The devotees enjoy, even in this life, all offered benedictions, though they do not desire them. So this is the previous verse of the, actually this verse is quoted in by Kapil Dev in 325:36, and in 325:37 there is further he quotes this. It is understood that not having a desire for these things, even if they are offered, is an expression of their humility. So this is what Jiva Goswami says. Now, the second category is the devotees who are qualified for practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. They are absorbed in the bliss of the service of the Lord. These desires for bhakti and mukti come, but they should never desire. This bhakti, it will come because still the antakaran is not completely pure. So these verses are quoted. Shri Krishna Charanam Bhoja Seva Nivritta Chetasam Esham Mokshaya Bhaktanam Na Kadachit Spruha Bhave. Devotees who are Esham Bhaktanam absorbed in the bliss of service, Seva Nivritta Chetasam, to the lotus feet of Krishna, Shri Krishna Charanam Bhoja should never desire liberation. Na kadachit spruha bhavet mokshaya. So now he keeps on giving evidences for this statement of Rupa Goswami. He gives evidence now, evidence one for second statement. I mean, when I say the second statement, I am referring to this statement, B. This B statement I'm referring. I'm referring to that statement. So he gives evidence. First evidence he gives from the Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 4th chapter. O no ishate pad saroja bhajam dhurlabhorteshu chatursva apiha tatapi naham pravrinomi bhuman bhavat padamboja nisevanutsaka. What among the four goals of Artha, Dharma, Kama and Moksha? Kaha nu arteshu chatursva piha is difficult to achieve. Sudharlabha, for one who worships your lotus feet. Te pada saroja bhaja. O Lord, woman, I therefore, tatapi, do not accept these things. Naham pravarni, since I am enthusiastically engaged in serving your lotus feet. Bhavat padamboja nishevana utsuka. Now, a Mishra Bhakta or one who is not yet qualified for practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, when the desires come, the desires for Bhakti, forget Mukti is a very elevated desire, you can say, which we have to get purified. When they come, if he goes for it, then he is not qualified for Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti till now. But those who are qualified for Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, they are absorbed in the bliss of the service. So these things come, but they don't desire it. Varam deva moksham na moksham vadimva na chanyam vrinesham vareshadapiya idam teva purnata gopala bhalam sadame manasya virastam kimane damodarashtakam satyavram. So I don't want any moksha or moksha vadim, the highest summit of liberation that is staying in your planet. Then what do you want? Take liberation, come to my planet. Krishna must be saying, no, Satyavrat Muni, no. Then what do you want? I just want to be absorbed in seeing the beautiful pastimes of Bal Gopal which he performs with Mother Yashoda. So he's so much absorbed in the beautiful pastimes of the bliss that these desires are not there. So these are the two categories, both the sadhakas and the sadhyas. The sadhakas, the desires are there because they are not yet purified, but when they come, because they are absorbed in the bliss, they don't desire it. So they are qualified Vaidhi Sadhaka Bhakta. This is my point I wanted to thrust upon. So this is the second reference. Naikatmana me spruhanti kechin matpada seva birata madiha ye nanyato bhagavata prasajya sabha jayante mama paurshani. Those devotees, ye bhagavata, who are engaged in service at my feet following scriptural rules. Mat pada seva bhirata, who desire only the taste of my beauty. Mad iha, gather together, yaha prasajya, relish my pastimes among themselves. Anyannata Sabhajante mama paurishani. Never desire to become one with Brahman. Na ek atmanam me spruhanti kechit. So this is from the Kapil Shiksha. So like that, many verses are quoted by Rupa Goswami. I just quoted only two. Let us see what in this purport Jiva Goswami says. Vishwanath Chakravarti. Some devotees do not desire liberation in the form of becoming one with Brahman, Ekatma. But what satisfies them so much that they have no taste for happiness for Brahman? They are very attached by the direct screen of scriptures, Abhiratha. Now these are Vaidhi Sadhaka Bhaktas, not these are Siddhas. To serving my lotus feet with all their senses, Sadhana Bhakti. They have no interest in Gyan or other processes. This statement indicates bhakti, which is a natural inclination following the scriptures, devoid of karma and gyan, engaging all the senses, and having the Lord as the object. So this is fulfilling the Uttama Bhakti definition. Since they have only the desire for tasting the sweetness of my beauty, Mad, they are intent, prasaja, on having absence of other desires, anya bilashita shunyam. So these devotees are qualified for Vaidhi sadhana. They enjoy sabhajante, the sweetness of my human pastimes, paurishani, such as lifting Govardhan by reciting their glories. The happiness of Brahman is thus not pleasing to them because it lacks service to the lotus feet. It lacks perception of the beauty of the Lord, and it lacks the taste of Lord's pastimes. These are the three reasons why the devotees do not desire liberation. If they don't desire liberation, why will they desire, enjoyment then? So this is what I wanted to discuss. Now the next important theme is gradations of Mukti Spruha. Any questions or clarifications up till now? Okay. Yes, Dr. Archana Mataji.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Actually, I just want to know, once the devotee has entered into Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, and there is a natural inclination towards denying all bhakti or mukti. So with the humility.
Pardon, I did not hear you clearly. What did you say? There is a...
Once devotee has entered into Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, he will be absorbed in the lotus seva of the lotus feet of Krishna, and he will deny all bhakti and mukti.
Yes,
right?
he doesn't care about it because he's so much in the bliss of service that he doesn't have time for it also.
So that won't create any false ego in him.
That won't
create any false ego.
Why would it create a false ego, you think?
I mean, Lord is offering you so much and still you are denying everything.
That is out of his humility. It was mentioned,
Yes.
One of the quality in the path of bhakti is, in the path of Gyan, Vairagya is to be practiced, to become detached from matter. And with the practice of Vairagya, you become detached. So naturally, there is pride. There is pride. I am detached and see these materialistic people, they are so much enjoying sense objects. Oh, these materialistic people, so out of ahankar, you might criticize and that ego might be there. But the practice of bhakti is such a thing that by natural attachment to Krishna, there is a natural detachment from matter. There is no separate endeavor practice to detach ourselves from matter. When we become attached to Krishna, automatically we detach from matter and natural humility develops. That is why in the Shikshashtakam, Ranadapi Sunichena Taroreva Soishnam Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadari. That verse comes third. The fourth verse is Na Dhanam, Na Janam, Na Sundari. So for the devotee also, Dhan will come. He is not interested. I don't want. Sundari will also come. And followers will come, but he is not interested in that. Then what do you want? Mama Janmani Janmanishwari. Avatar Ahetuki Bhakti. Ahetuki Bhakti means Shuddha Bhakti. So that kind of a desire he has. If he has a desire for these things and he goes for it, but he's still not qualified. He's practicing still Mishra Bhakti. Because he's still not understood the bliss of serving Krishna. He's not attained that bliss. Because Bhukti Mukti Spruha Yavat Pishachi Ridhi Vartate Tavat Bhakti Sukasyatra. That bhakti means what? The bliss of Sarup Siddha Bhakti. He cannot relish it because still the desire of bhakti and mukti is there. You're going for it. That means it is there. So we can understand the glory of what is Uttama Bhakti and the glory of anyone who is practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. The qualification to practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, we have now been discussing Purna Shraddha. Only when we come to the platform of a Brahma Bhuta realization, then pure devotion begins. Prabhupada said, we saw all those references in the last few classes. So we can imagine that even with little practice of bhakti, which is now in the mixed Mishra Bhakti, what is the glory? We might be practicing while, the angas of devotion like hearing, chanting, and we are experiencing bliss. We are not able to practice it constitutionally all the time because our conditioned nature is there. We are doing conditional activities. And while doing conditional activities, there is karma avran happening, or there are anya vilashas. So it is Mishra Bhakti. So even while doing that, there is so much of bliss. So can we imagine what is the bliss in Ananya Bhakti? That although these things come, he never desires these things. So this is the point. I hope it is clear, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions or clarifications? Yes, one more question. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
So just one clarification. This we said this practicing devotee who is
Qualified for practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti.
Yes, and he is experiencing bliss while serving the Lord.
Yeah, because he's practicing Ananya Bhakti.
Yes. So this stage will be Bhava Prabhu, or which stage he will be experiencing this?
See, the stage for a perfected devotee is Bhava, because Sadhya is Bhava stage. Sadhya is Bhava stage. But the sadhaka who is a Vaidhi sadhaka, he's not at perfected stage. Stages will be before that. But because he is qualified to practice Ananya Bhakti, and the anarthas are there, he's not fully purified, but the bliss what he's getting and the Esham to antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridavata. He's so much, his bhajan doesn't break. His bhajan doesn't break. That's why Madhyamadhikari platform is, Mahaprabhu says, Nirantara Namaloy. He's absorbed in always taking the Nam because he's getting relish in the Nam. So he don't has relish for other, so many other things. He's relishing Nam. So it is a Madhyam platform stage because he's still not attained the higher stage. With the sadhana practice, when he attains sadhya, he'll attain the higher stage of bhava. It is a Madhyama platform, Brahma Bhuta platform. This can be, we will go to the 4th chapter of Bhakti Tattva Vivek, where more Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to discuss about it also. I hope for now it is okay and satisfactory to you.
Yes, thank you. I think it is Nishtha stage. Will it be Nishtha?
Yes. Now again, this is based on Shraddha, faith.
Okay.
Because qualification for practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, there are 3: Kanishta, Madhyam, Uttama, and only a Madhyama has that Dhrida Shraddha. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas, Sudrida Nishchay, Krishna Bhakti Kaile, Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. So it falls in that category, yes.
Right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other clarifications anyone has? Okay, so we will stop for now. Mukti Spruha we will take up in the next class, and we'll continue. There's a last part in this first chapter. The second Tatastha Lakshan, that is Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam, that we'll take in the next class and finish first chapter. Then we'll go to the second chapter. Thank you very much. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki